Clara had always been used to control. She controlled her meetings, her money, and even the pace of her life. But today, sitting behind the wheel of her sleek, black luxury car, she realized she had no control at all. The smooth hum of the engine suddenly became uneven, then stopped entirely. Her heart skipped a beat. She pressed the accelerator again, hoping it was just a temporary hiccup, but nothing happened. The car was dead. She glanced around. The road stretched ahead, long and empty, surrounded by golden fields that sway gently in the wind. A few birds flew across the sky, but no other cars passed. Panic crept in. She was far from the city, far from anyone who could help, and her phone showed no signal. The GPS had stopped working too. Clara sighed and tried to calm herself. She had faced challenges before, but this was different. This was not a business deal she could solve with strategy or money. Taking a deep breath, she opened the car door and stepped outside. The air was fresh, tinged with the scent of grass and earth. She felt a small shiver, not from cold, but from the sudden awareness that she was completely alone. She walked to the side of the road, hoping for a passing car or a farmhouse nearby. Her designer heels sank slightly into the soft dirt, reminding her that she was far from her usual city life. As she walked, she noticed a plume of smoke in the distance. It was faint, but unmistakable. Curiosity mixed with hope. She decided to follow it. The path led her through a narrow dirt lane, surrounded by tall cornfields, until she saw a small farmhouse. It was modest, with white painted walls that had faded slightly with age and a roof of red tiles. Smoke rose gently from the chimney, curling into the pink and orange sky. Clara's first instinct was hesitation. She had grown up in a world of luxury, where problems were solved by assistance or money. But here, in this quiet place, she had no choice. She walked toward the house, her steps cautious. She noticed a young man outside, carrying a basket of vegetables. His clothes were simple, dusty from work in the fields, and his hands were rough from labor. He looked up as she approached, curiosity and surprise in his eyes. "Hello," Clara said softly, trying to sound calm. My car broke down. Can you help me, please?" The young man, Liam, studied her for a moment. She looked nervous, her city clothes out of place in the countryside. But he nodded. "Sure," he said. "I'll see what I can do. Do you want to come inside while I get some tools?" Clara hesitated. The house looked very simple, nothing like the modern, elegant homes she was used to. But the warmth in Liam's eyes was comforting. She nodded and followed him. Inside, the house smelled of fresh bread and herbs. Wooden furniture filled the small space, and photographs of a happy family hung on the walls. It was simple, yet it felt alive. Liam's mother appeared from the kitchen, smiling shyly. "Can I get you some tea?" she asked. Clara smiled nervously. "Yes, please," she said, sitting down at the wooden table. As Liam went outside to check the car, Clara took a moment to look around. There were no luxury items, no gadgets, no expensive decorations. But there was a sense of peace here, a feeling she hadn't felt in years. She realized how much her life in the city was filled with noise and hurry, and how little time she had for quiet moments like this. Minutes passed. She could hear the distant sounds of birds and the soft rustling of leaves. Every sound felt louder in the calm countryside. She sipped the tea Liam's mother brought her, and it tasted like warmth itself. For the first time that day, she felt a sense of hope. Maybe this simple farmhouse, these unknown people, could help her. Liam returned with a toolbox. He looked tired but determined. "Let's take a look," he said. Clara followed him outside. The car sat quietly on the dirt lane, as if waiting for a solution. Liam opened the hood, his hands working carefully. Clara watched, fascinated. She had no idea how cars worked, but she noticed how patient he was, checking every part, turning knobs, and listening closely. Hours might have passed, Clara didn't know. Time seemed to slow in the quiet fields. She realized that here, money could not fix everything. No amount of wealth could replace patience, hard work, and determination. And she felt something shift inside her, a mix of humility and curiosity. For the first time in a long time, Clara wasn't in control. And for the first time in a long time, she didn't mind. She was learning that maybe, just maybe, help could come from the most unexpected places. Liam worked quietly, his hands steady as he examined the car. Clara watched closely, fascinated by his focus. She had always been surrounded by people who gave orders or followed instructions, but here was someone who simply faced a challenge and tried to solve it. She admired his patience. "Do you need anything?" she asked gently. Liam shook his head. "Just a few tools," he said, already picking up a wrench and adjusting a part under the hood. "This might take a while, but I'll do my best." Clara nodded and stepped back, feeling slightly out of place in her city clothes, her heels sinking into the dirt. She realized how little she knew about this world. In her life of meetings, offices, and contracts, she had never learned how to fix anything herself. Watching Liam, she felt a mix of admiration and humility. The sun was beginning to lower in the sky, painting the fields in shades of gold and orange. Liam wiped sweat from his forehead and glanced at Clara. "It's tricky," he admitted. "Modern cars are not like the tractors or old engines I usually fix." Clara smiled. "I can imagine," she said. "I've never even opened a car hood myself." He chuckled softly. "That's okay. Not everyone has to." There was a quiet honesty in his voice, something she hadn't heard from anyone in the business world. It was simple, sincere, and real. As Liam worked, Clara's attention drifted to the fields around them. The corn swayed gently, and the wind carried the scent of fresh soil. She noticed the way the sunlight touched the farmhouse roof, the way shadows moved across the land. It was beautiful in a way that money could never buy. For a moment, she forgot about the broken car, the meetings she would miss, and the deadlines waiting for her. She just watched the world around her, calm and alive. After a few minutes, Liam frowned. "I think part of the problem is the battery," he said. He opened a small compartment and checked the connections carefully. Clara could see the worry on his face. She wanted to help but didn't know how. She felt helpless for the first time in a long while, and it was strange. "Is there anything I can do?" she asked again. Liam smiled, though tired. "You're already helping by being patient. That matters more than you know." Clara felt a warmth spread through her chest. In her world, patience was rare, and waiting was uncomfortable. Here, patience felt like a gift, a shared understanding between two strangers trying to solve a problem together. Hours passed. The sky turned from gold to deep orange, then to purple and pink. Liam had checked every visible part of the car, but the engine still refused to start. Clara could see the frustration building in him, but he did not give up. He wiped his hands on a rag and took a deep breath, then returned to work with renewed determination. Clara wanted to say something to encourage him, but words felt small compared to his effort. Instead, she just stood there quietly, offering her presence. She realized that sometimes, support was not about giving advice or money, but simply being there. Finally, Liam leaned back, tired but thoughtful. "I think we might need some more parts from the city," he said slowly. "But I don't want you to wait out here alone." Clara shook her head. "I don't mind waiting. I've never spent time like this before. It's peaceful." Liam glanced at her, surprised. "Peaceful? Out here?" Clara nodded. "Yes. In the city, everything moves too fast. People are always busy, always rushing. Here, it's different. It feels calm, even though nothing is easy." He smiled, a small, genuine smile. "You're right. It is different. Life is slower, but we notice more. We notice the little things that matter." Clara looked at him, her mind reflecting on his words. She realized how much she had been missing in her life: moments of quiet, the satisfaction of hard work, the connection with people who truly cared. She had spent so much time chasing money and status that she had forgotten the simple joys of life. As the evening air grew cooler, Liam finally closed the hood. "I'll keep trying tomorrow," he said, "but it might take a while. It's not an easy fix." Clara nodded. "I understand. And, thank you. You've already done more than I could have asked." He shrugged modestly. "I'm just doing what I can. Everyone needs help sometimes." Clara felt a surge of gratitude. She had come to this countryside expecting inconvenience and difficulty, but instead, she found kindness, patience, and determination. She realized that the people here lived a life full of real challenges and rewards, far removed from the artificial stress of her city world. That night, as she sat inside the farmhouse, sipping tea with Liam's mother and listening to the quiet sounds of the countryside, Clara felt something shift inside her. She understood that life was not only about control and wealth, but also about connection, effort, and humility. And somehow, in this small farmhouse, far from her city life, she felt at home. The next morning, Clara woke to the soft light of dawn filtering through the farmhouse windows. The scent of fresh bread and herbs filled the room, and she could hear the distant sound of birds singing. It was a gentle, peaceful start to the day, so different from the noisy alarms and traffic of the city she was used to. She stepped outside onto the small wooden porch and saw Liam already in the fields. His hands moved quickly, skillfully tending to the rows of vegetables that stretched toward the horizon. Clara watched him for a moment, feeling a sense of admiration. He worked with such care and precision, yet there was a quiet joy in his movements, as if he belonged to this land. "Good morning," she called softly. Liam looked up, his face lighting with a friendly smile. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Yes," Clara replied. "It's peaceful here. I didn't realize how quiet life could be." He laughed lightly. "Quiet isn't always peaceful," he said. "But it does give you time to think. That's something city life rarely allows." Clara nodded, thinking about her hectic days of meetings, calls, and deadlines. She had never really taken the time to pause and reflect. Now, standing here on the farm, she felt as though she was seeing a different world, one where life moved slower, but every moment counted. After breakfast, Liam showed her around the farm. They walked past the vegetable garden, the small orchard, and the barn where a few cows and chickens lived. Clara noticed how clean and organized everything was, despite the simplicity. Liam explained how he managed the farm, from planting to harvesting, and how he sold some produce in the nearby market to support his family. "It's hard work," Liam admitted, "but it's honest work. You see the results of what you do. Every seed you plant, every hour you spend, it matters." Clara listened carefully. She realized that her life, though filled with wealth, often lacked that tangible connection to the results of her efforts. She had hired others to handle most tasks, never truly feeling the satisfaction of accomplishing something with her own hands. Watching Liam, she understood that this was a kind of fulfillment that money could never buy. As they walked, Liam shared stories of his childhood on the farm, the lessons his parents had taught him, and the importance of helping neighbors. Clara felt drawn to his honesty and simplicity. She had met many people in her life, but few spoke with such sincerity. When they returned to the car, Liam opened the hood again. Clara noticed the determination in his eyes. He was not giving up, even though the problem was difficult. She offered to hold tools and pass him parts, trying to be helpful in any small way she could. "You know," Clara said quietly, "I think I've learned more from this farm in one day than from years in the city." Liam looked at her with a gentle smile. "Sometimes, the lessons you need most come from unexpected places." Clara nodded, feeling the truth of his words. She realized that life had slowed down for her, not because she wanted it, but because circumstances had forced her to stop and notice what really mattered. She was learning patience, humility, and the importance of connection, lessons that her wealth could never teach her. By midday, the car still would not start. Liam had tried everything he knew, but it seemed that a part needed to be replaced. Clara felt a pang of disappointment but also a sense of respect for his efforts. He had not given up, even when the situation was difficult. "Don't worry," Liam said, noticing her concern. "We'll find a solution. For now, you can rest and have some tea." Clara smiled, grateful for his kindness. She sat on the porch, sipping the warm tea Liam's mother had brought out, and watched him return to his work in the fields. She thought about how different his life was from hers. Yet, there was something she envied, not the money or status she had, but the connection he had with his family, his work, and the land. As the sun began to lower in the sky, Clara noticed a sense of calm she had not felt in years. She realized that the broken car, the inconvenience, and the unfamiliar surroundings had led her to an unexpected gift, a glimpse into a life filled with purpose, honesty, and simplicity. That evening, sitting by the fireplace with Liam and his family, Clara felt a quiet warmth. They laughed softly, shared small stories, and offered her simple food that tasted richer than any gourmet meal she had ever eaten. She began to understand that happiness was not in luxury, but in connection, effort, and care. Liam glanced at her and said, "I hope your car gets fixed soon. But I'm glad you stayed." Sometimes, the unexpected moments teach us the most. Clara nodded, smiling. She knew he was right. She had come to this countryside expecting frustration and inconvenience, but she had found something far more valuable: human connection, kindness, and a lesson in humility. And as she closed her eyes that night, listening to the soft sounds of the countryside, Clara realized that this encounter would change her life. She didn't know how, or when, but she felt certain that she would carry the lessons of this small farmhouse and the young farmer into everything she did from now on. The next morning, Clara woke to the gentle sounds of the countryside. The wind whispered through the cornfields, and the faint clucking of chickens came from the barn. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of calm she couldn't find in the city. The worries about work and deadlines felt distant, almost meaningless in the simplicity of this farm. She stepped outside and saw Liam already moving in the fields, his sleeves rolled up and his hands working the soil with practiced skill. Today, he was checking the irrigation lines, ensuring that every plant received enough water. Clara watched for a moment, amazed at the patience and care he showed. Every plant, every row, mattered to him, and the satisfaction he gained from small, hard-earned results was something she had rarely experienced in her busy life. "Good morning," she called out. "Morning," Liam replied, his face bright with a smile. "Come, have breakfast with us before we start." Clara followed him into the small farmhouse. The interior was modest, filled with wooden furniture, hand-stitched cloths, and photographs of a happy family on the walls. Liam's mother was already preparing a simple breakfast of fresh bread, eggs, and vegetables from their garden. The aroma filled the room, warm and inviting. Clara felt a little awkward. She was not used to sitting at a plain wooden table, sharing food with strangers in a home without luxury. But there was something comforting in the simplicity, something real and honest. "Please, sit," Liam's mother said softly, smiling warmly. "Eat while it's hot." Clara sat down, noticing the care and love that went into every dish. As she tasted the fresh bread and the simple vegetable stew, she realized how delicious and satisfying it was. Not a single item was fancy, yet the flavors were rich and comforting. For a moment, she forgot about her broken car, her city life, and even her responsibilities. She just enjoyed the moment. While they ate, Liam talked about the farm, his family, and the challenges they faced. Clara listened intently. She learned that the farm required constant work planting, watering, harvesting, and selling produce in the nearby market. She also learned that every day was a balance of effort, patience, and hope. Liam spoke with pride, but also with humility, about the life he led. "You see," he said, "we may not have much in money, but we have enough. Enough food, enough care, and enough time to be together. That's what matters." Clara nodded, reflecting on her own life. She had wealth beyond measure, but her days were filled with meetings, deadlines, and stress. She had little time to truly connect with anyone, and she realized how lonely that made her feel. Here, in this small farmhouse, she felt warmth and connection she had forgotten existed. After breakfast, Liam suggested they take a short walk to check the nearby orchard. Clara followed, enjoying the cool morning air and the soft sunlight that filtered through the trees. Liam explained how they pruned the trees, cared for the soil, and ensured each fruit tree produced the best harvest possible. Clara was fascinated by the knowledge and dedication required to maintain even this small orchard. As they walked, she noticed how closely Liam's family worked together. His mother tended the plants with careful hands, while Liam focused on the irrigation. Even the small children helped in their own ways, carrying baskets or picking fallen fruit. Clara realized that this sense of teamwork, this shared effort, was a kind of wealth that money could never buy. Returning to the farmhouse, Liam checked on the car again. Clara offered to help by holding tools and passing him parts. Though she had no technical knowledge, she found herself enjoying the act of helping, of being part of the effort rather than just watching. "Thank you," Liam said quietly, noticing her eagerness. "It's nice to have help, even if it's small." Clara smiled. "It feels different," she admitted. "I've never done anything like this before. It feels good to help, even in a small way." Liam nodded. "Sometimes, the smallest actions make the biggest difference." Not everything needs to be grand to matter. Clara thought about her life in the city, the way she had chased big deals and big projects, thinking that success was measured in wealth and power. Here, she saw a different kind of success, measured not in money, but in effort, care, and connection. She realized that she had been missing something important all along. As the sun began to set, Clara sat on the porch, sipping the tea Liam's mother had brought out. The fields were bathed in golden light, the sky painted with shades of pink and purple. The soft sounds of the farm, the distant moo of a cow, the rustle of leaves, the laughter of children filled the air. Clara felt a sense of gratitude swell in her heart. She had come here expecting a problem to solve, an inconvenience to endure, but instead, she had found something far more valuable, a lesson in humility, a connection to people and life, and a moment of peace she had long forgotten. She looked at Liam, busy in the fields, and smiled quietly. She understood now that life was not only about wealth or status. True richness came from the people we care about, the effort we put into meaningful work, and the small moments of joy we often overlook. And in that small farmhouse, surrounded by the warmth of a family and the calm of the countryside, Clara felt a sense of belonging she had never felt in her fast, noisy city life. The morning sun rose slowly over the fields, casting a warm, golden light on the farmhouse and surrounding land. Clara stepped outside, taking a deep breath of the crisp morning air. The peace of the countryside felt different every day, gentle, comforting, and yet full of life. She watched Liam already in the fields, tending to the vegetables with the same careful hands and steady rhythm she had admired since her first day. "Good morning," Clara called, her voice carrying across the soft breeze. Liam looked up and smiled. "Good morning. Ready to help today?" Clara nodded. She had spent the past few days watching and learning, and now she felt ready to take part. Today, Liam asked her to help him with small tasks around the farm, watering plants, carrying baskets of vegetables, and sorting fruits. It was hard work, but Clara felt a sense of satisfaction she hadn't known in years. Each task, though simple, gave her a feeling of accomplishment. "You're doing well," Liam said as he noticed her careful work. "Farming teaches patience. You can't rush it. Every plant, every tree, needs time and care." Clara thought about his words. In the city, she had always wanted results quickly, fast decisions, fast profits, fast success. But here, she realized, life moved differently. Things that truly mattered took time. Effort, care, and patience could not be rushed. She felt a strange mix of frustration and appreciation: frustration for the way she had rushed through life, and appreciation for this opportunity to slow down and learn. By mid-morning, Clara was sweating and tired, but she did not complain. Liam's gentle guidance and encouragement made the work feel purposeful rather than exhausting. They moved from the vegetable garden to the orchard, picking fruits and examining the trees together. Liam explained how each tree needed different care, how some required more water, and some needed the soil to be loosened. Clara listened intently, learning not just about farming, but about the care and attention required in life itself. As they worked, Clara noticed the small rhythms of life on the farm: the way the wind made the leaves dance, the songs of birds, and the soft footsteps of chickens pecking at the ground. She realized that she had never truly noticed these things in her fast-paced city life. Each sound, each movement, felt alive, as if the farm itself was teaching her to pay attention and appreciate the present moment. After a while, Liam paused to wipe the sweat from his forehead. "We'll take a short break," he said, smiling. "You've been doing great." Clara sat on a small wooden bench, watching Liam return to the irrigation lines. She felt a mix of exhaustion and joy. She had expected her visit to be inconvenient, a minor interruption in her life, but instead, it had become a lesson in patience, humility, and understanding the value of effort. "You know," she said softly, "I never realized how much work goes into just living this kind of life." Liam glanced at her, nodding. "It's hard work, yes. But it's honest. You see results from what you do. That's something many people don't experience in a busy city." Clara smiled. She thought about her own life, filled with meetings, contracts, and endless deadlines. She had built wealth and success, yet she realized that she rarely saw the tangible results of her own effort. Here, on this simple farm, every action mattered. Every seed, every plant, every drop of water contributed to something meaningful. She felt a sense of clarity she hadn't felt in years. As the day passed, Liam returned to the car to check the engine. Clara followed, eager to see the progress. He worked with careful determination, but the problem persisted. The car could not be fixed without a replacement part, which would take time to obtain. Clara felt a pang of disappointment but reminded herself of the lessons she had learned here: the importance of patience, effort, and acceptance. "Sometimes," Liam said, glancing at her, "you have to wait for the right solution. Rushing doesn't help. You do what you can, and the rest takes time." Clara nodded, absorbing his words. She realized that this lesson went beyond cars or farms. It applied to life itself. She had spent so many years trying to control everything, forcing outcomes, and expecting immediate results. Now, she saw that patience and persistence were far more valuable. That evening, Clara joined Liam and his family for a simple dinner. They laughed, shared stories, and spoke of the work they had done throughout the day. Clara felt a deep sense of belonging. She had come to this countryside expecting a minor inconvenience, yet she had found connection, wisdom, and a new perspective on life. As she sipped her tea, she looked at Liam and said quietly, "Thank you. Not just for helping with the car, but for everything. I feel like I'm learning something I've been missing for a long time." Liam smiled. "Sometimes, the best lessons come when you least expect them. And sometimes, the smallest people teach you the biggest lessons." Clara nodded, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. She knew that these moments, these lessons, would stay with her long after she left the farm. She realized that life was not about rushing, not about wealth or power, but about care, effort, and the patience to let things grow in their own time. And as the sun set behind the fields, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Clara felt a quiet sense of hope. She knew that even when her car was still broken, her journey of understanding and growth had already begun. The sun rose slowly, spilling golden light across the farmhouse and the surrounding fields. Clara stepped outside, feeling a quiet excitement mixed with nervousness. Today, she knew, might be the day her car would finally be fixed. But she also felt a tug in her heart, a strange reluctance to leave this simple, warm world she had come to admire. Liam was already at the car, opening the hood with a calm determination. He had spent days trying to fix it, testing every part he could, and now he had managed to order the replacement component from the nearby town. Clara watched as he worked, noticing the careful precision in his movements. He treated every bolt and wire with respect, as if the car, like the farm, deserved careful attention. "You've really worked hard on this," Clara said, handing him a wrench. "I can't imagine anyone being more patient or determined." Liam smiled, shrugging modestly. I just want it to work. That's all. And, it's nice to help. Clara felt a warmth in her chest. She had come here expecting a small inconvenience, yet she had found kindness, patience, and a connection that made her heart feel full. She realized how much she had missed these simple human experiences in her busy, city-driven life. Hours passed as Liam carefully replaced the part, adjusted the connections, and checked every detail. Clara stayed by his side, helping in small ways, holding tools, passing items, and offering encouragement. The process was slow, but she didn't mind. She had learned patience over the past days, and she realized that the act of helping, even in small ways, brought her joy. Finally, Liam closed the hood and wiped his hands on a rag. He turned the key, and the engine roared to life. Clara's eyes widened in delight, and a genuine smile spread across her face. "You did it," she exclaimed. Liam grinned. "We did it," he corrected, smiling warmly. "It took time, but patience wins in the end." Clara felt a surge of gratitude. She had not only regained her car but had also gained something far more valuable, a lesson in perseverance, humility, and the power of human kindness. She realized that no amount of money could have taught her these lessons. They had come from a simple farm, a determined young man, and his welcoming family. As she looked at Liam, she noticed a quiet pride in his eyes. He did not seek recognition or reward. He did not ask for thanks. He simply did what needed to be done. Clara realized that this kind of selfless effort was rare, and it inspired her deeply. I don't know how to thank you," she said softly. Liam shook his head. "No need. Seeing you smile is thanks enough. And maybe, you've learned something that's more important than fixing a car." Clara nodded, understanding immediately. She had learned patience, humility, and the joy of simple human connection. She had learned that life's true richness was not in wealth or status, but in care, effort, and meaningful relationships. As she packed her things into the car, Clara felt a strange mix of excitement and sadness. The car was ready, the journey back to the city awaited, yet she felt reluctant to leave the warmth of the farmhouse and the lessons she had learned here. She had come to the countryside expecting an inconvenience, but she was leaving with a new understanding of life. Liam noticed her hesitation. "You'll come back, won't you?" he asked gently. Clara smiled. "I think I will. I want to. This place, and you, have taught me something I will never forget." His family gathered around to see her off. Liam's mother handed her a small basket of fresh vegetables and bread. "Take this," she said warmly. "A reminder of home, and of simple joys." Clara felt tears prick her eyes. She had been touched by their generosity, their humility, and their genuine care. She realized that no matter how far she returned to her busy life, a part of her would always remain here, carrying the lessons and memories of this place. As she started the car and pulled onto the dirt road, she looked back at the farmhouse. Liam stood at the edge of the field, waving quietly. She waved back, feeling a mix of gratitude, nostalgia, and newfound understanding. She knew her life would never be quite the same. The countryside gradually faded behind her as she drove toward the city. Yet in her heart, Clara carried a quiet calm she had never known before. The broken car, the long wait, the simple meals, and the hard work on the farm had all become part of her journey, not just a story of inconvenience, but a story of growth, connection, and understanding. Clara understood now that life's true richness came from moments like these. Moments of patience, kindness, and shared effort. Moments that reminded her that even in a busy, complicated world, the simplest experiences could leave the deepest impact. And though she was returning to her world of wealth and deadlines, she promised herself that she would carry this lesson always, remembering the young farmer and his humble, kind family who had shown her that true wealth is measured not in money, but in heart. Clara drove slowly along the dirt road, leaving the farmhouse and the fields behind. The city's skyline was still miles away, but she could already feel the difference within herself. The past days had been more than just an inconvenience, they had been a journey, a lesson, and a gift she had not expected. As she drove, she thought about Liam and his family. She remembered Liam's steady hands working the car, the patience in his every movement, and the quiet pride he carried in his honest work. She thought about his mother's warm smile, the taste of freshly baked bread, and the laughter that filled their modest farmhouse. These were moments of genuine connection, simple joys that money could never buy. Clara realized how much her life in the city had been missing. She had wealth, power, and comfort, but she had rarely stopped to notice the small things that made life meaningful: the effort of hands that cared, the patience to wait, the warmth of a shared meal, and the kindness of people who expected nothing in return. For the first time in years, she felt a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons she had learned, for the people who had shared their lives with her, and for the chance to see the world from a different perspective. She understood that life was not just about deadlines, contracts, or wealth. True richness came from human connection, effort, and the simple acts of kindness that often went unnoticed. Clara's thoughts wandered to the car she had once thought was the most important thing in the world. It had been broken, inconvenient, and frustrating, yet it had led her here to lessons far more valuable than any luxury or comfort. She realized that sometimes, the obstacles we face are not there to stop us, but to guide us toward growth and understanding. As she drove, she thought about how she could carry these lessons back into her city life. She wanted to slow down, to appreciate small moments, to connect with people with sincerity rather than convenience. She wanted to value effort over instant results, and kindness over status. Clara knew it would not be easy, old habits die hard. But she also knew that she could not ignore the transformation that had begun within her. A soft smile spread across her face as she thought about Liam. He had been a teacher without even realizing it. He had shown her that patience, humility, and dedication mattered more than speed, wealth, or recognition. Clara realized that true leaders were not those with power or money, but those who worked with heart, who helped without expectation, and who valued connection over convenience. As the city lights began to appear on the horizon, Clara felt a mix of emotions: anticipation, nostalgia, and hope. She was returning to her busy life, yet she carried a new perspective, a quiet strength that had been born from simplicity and sincerity. The lessons of the farm, the kindness of a family she barely knew, and the patience of a young farmer had left an imprint on her soul. When she reached her city apartment later that evening, Clara unpacked the small basket Liam's mother had given her. Fresh vegetables, homemade bread, and a few herbs filled the basket, a simple gift that reminded her of the warmth she had experienced. She placed it on her kitchen counter, smiling at the thought that even in a world of wealth and luxury, she could still hold on to the lessons of humility and care. Clara's phone buzzed with messages, calls from colleagues, reminders of meetings, and news from her business. She looked at it, then turned it off. Not permanently, but for a moment, she allowed herself to pause. She thought about the fields, the farmhouse, and the laughter she had shared. She realized that life was too short to be constantly rushing. There was beauty in patience, satisfaction in effort, and joy in genuine connection. That night, as she lay in her bed, Clara reflected on the days she had spent in the countryside. She thought about Liam, the young farmer who had worked tirelessly to help a stranger, and about his family, who had welcomed her into their home with open hearts. She felt a sense of peace she had never known in her fast, busy life. Clara knew that her world would not change overnight. There would still be deadlines, meetings, and challenges. But she had learned a lesson that could not be taken away. She had learned that wealth was not measured in money or possessions, but in the connections we make, the care we show, and the patience we practice. In the days that followed, Clara began to apply what she had learned. She reached out to people with kindness, appreciated the small moments of life, and approached challenges with patience rather than rush. She remembered the lessons from the farm every time she faced a difficult situation, every time she felt overwhelmed by her busy life. And though she returned to her city, her thoughts often wandered back to the small farmhouse, the golden fields, and the young farmer who had unknowingly taught her the most valuable lessons of all. Clara realized that true change begins with a single moment of understanding, a simple act of patience, and the courage to embrace a new perspective. And so, Clara's life moved forward not just as a wealthy businesswoman, but as a person who had learned the real meaning of richness, the richness of heart, of kindness, and of connection. And she knew, deep down, that she would never forget the young farmer, his family, or the small farmhouse that had changed her life forever.